Colombia's president claims that cocaine is no worse than whiskey and would be sold like wine if legalized globally. Despite ongoing discoveries of clandestine graves in Mexico, the government has ceased releasing statistics. 2 years ago, Colombia's president claims that cocaine is no worse than whiskey and would be sold like wine if legalized globally. Despite ongoing discoveries of clandestine graves in Mexico, the government has ceased releasing statistics. 2 years ago, a nonprofit reported that Mexico was uncovering 1.8 clandestine graves each day. Tunisia has resumed its crackdown on political dissent, jailing opposition politicians and journalists. The opposition leader Ghannouchi received a new 22-year prison sentence. 4 months ago, Tunisia reportedly imprisoned presidential candidate Ayachi Zamel for 12 years. 8 months ago, leading opposition figure Musi was sentenced to jail. Apple is developing a tabletop robot with realistic movements, expected to launch by 2027. Civilization 7 has had a difficult beginning, earning mixed reviews on Steam from its premium supporters. This unfinished mess is nothing like the Civ 6 release. LeBron James has set a new record as the oldest player to score 40 points in NBA history, achieving 42 points in the Lakers' win.
Ireland and Spain should take Palestinians, Israeli minister says. In Israel, in meeting with Foreign Minister Sayar, top Italian diplomat says Rome will no longer work with UNRWA. Also, Tajani tells Sayar 2 states is solution for future. Netanyahu told U.S. officials war could end if Hamas leaders go into exile, claim sources.
Trump is considering allowing states to manage schools and is contemplating significant reductions to the U.S. Education Department. Elon Musk has remarked that the Department of Education is no longer relevant. Elon Musk's Doge is reportedly processing sensitive federal data into AI to identify areas for cuts, and Elon Musk's Doge is developing a personalized chatbot named GSAI. Chris Anderson is offering TED to anyone with the most innovative idea for its future.
Linus Bio introduces ClearStrand ASD, a revolutionary autism biomarker that allows healthcare providers to exclude autism with just 1 strand of hair. Meanwhile, the CDC briefly shares information on bird flu transmission between cats and humans before removing it. Additionally, the NCAA in the U.S. implements a new policy restricting transgender student athletes to competing in women's sports only if they were assigned female at birth.
Trump alleges that media outlets receive payments to produce favorable stories about Democrats, intensifying a conspiracy theory regarding Politico's compensation. Hungary's leader charges USAID with financing left-wing media across Europe. Remarks have noted that USAID allocated $44,000 to Politico, contrary to the White House's assertion of over $8 million. The payment was for subscriptions, and the White House plans to cancel $8 million in Politico subscriptions following the spread of a misleading right-wing conspiracy theory.
Bolivia and Argentina investigate an illegal hunting network responsible for the deaths of jaguars. Humpback whale songs exhibit patterns similar to those found in human language. Indonesia mandates the cessation of tourism projects associated with Trump due to environmental concerns. Putin's North Korean troops have reportedly been removed from the front line, according to Seoul's intelligence agency, while Zelensky claims they have returned. An Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed en route to Russia was reportedly found with numerous holes. As per a report, and Azerbaijan is intensifying a rare conflict with Russia regarding the passenger plane's downing. The Baltic countries have terminated their electricity connections to Russia via the Soviet-era grid and are strengthening their EU alliance.
UK mandates Apple to permit surveillance on users' encrypted accounts. The DeepSeek iOS application transmits data unencrypted to servers controlled by ByteDance, and DeepSeek limits access to AI model due to increased demand overwhelming capacity. Japan's financial services agency directs Apple and Google to eliminate Bybit, KuCoin, and 3 cryptocurrency exchange applications from their platforms. Emissions from powering AI data centers are expected to lead to significant health issues, potentially resulting in 600,000 asthma cases and $20 billion in health expenses by 2030. According to DeepSeek research, Huawei's Ascend 910C achieves 60% of the inference performance of NVIDIA's H100. DeepMind asserts that its AI surpasses the abilities of gold medalists in the International Mathematical Olympiad.
India reduces interest rates for the first time in almost 5 years to stimulate economic growth amid declining inflation. The Bank of England lowers rates, anticipating increased inflation and diminished growth. Trump announces that the U.S. and Japan will collaborate to reduce the trade deficit while meeting with Toshiba. Donald Trump indicates a desire to engage in discussions with Iran regarding the nuclear agreement. Trump asserts, "We will establish relations with North Korea." It is reported that the U.S. restrictions on semiconductors have impacted China more significantly than anticipated, with TSMC proceeding cautiously.
France and the UAE have signed a significant agreement. France and the UAE have signed a significant agreement for an AI data center, potentially valued at up to $50 billion. DeepSeek's AI model, described as efficient, is influencing the energy market, leading to discussions about demand. Meanwhile, Chevron is considering gas-powered plants for data centers. Additionally, AI chip company Cerebras has collaborated with France's Mistral, asserting a speed record.
Bloomberg notes that Wall Street is experiencing a more concealed era of stock trading. Trump aims to close a contentious tax loophole that has significantly increased the wealth of Wall Street's elite for many years, and investment groups are against Trump's proposal to raise the carried interest tax, as Trump plans to terminate carried interest and broaden SALT in his tax legislation. Trump confirms the United States' withdrawal from the International Tax Agreement.
Netflix is contemplating a bid for the Formula One television rights. Spotify and Warner Music have entered into a new multi-year agreement. Warner Music has acquired songs by Bruno Mars and Adele in a $450 million transaction.
Honeywell, HON, divides into 3 due to financial worries. Nikola, a producer of hydrogen trucks, approaches bankruptcy documentation. Trump predicts Nippon will withdraw $15 billion offer for U.S. steel, yet significantly engage in it.
Gemini is considering an IPO as cryptocurrency companies advance their listing plans. The Melania memecoin has plummeted by 90% from its highest point, as its novelty appeal diminishes. It is said that USDC has completely recovered from the FTX market crash. Fintech company Klarna is aiming for a U.S. IPO in April.
Trump plans to establish a religious office in the White House to address anti-Christian bias. The Trump administration is taking steps to halt the national rollout of electric vehicle chargers. Trump announces his intention to undo Biden's initiative aimed at eliminating plastic straws. UNESCO finishes restoring Mosul heritage sites harmed by ISIS. A 300-year-old Stradivarius violin fetches $11 million at a New York auction. The Metropolitan Museum of Art hosts its first major retrospective in the U.S. focused on Caspar David Friedrich. A Doge staffer resigns over racist posts. Elon Musk demands firing of disgusting and cruel Wall Street Journal reporter who uncovered Doge employees' racist tweets. Vance and Trump call for rehiring of Doge staffer who quit over racist posts. Musk obliges.
In the United States, the Treasury is focusing on an oil network that is providing hundreds of millions of dollars to Iran's military. The Trump administration has dissolved a task force aimed at Russian oligarchs. Reuters notes that while Trump's minimal cancellation is concerning for Temu, it poses an even greater threat to Shine. Ad buyers criticize Google, Amazon, and others for ads appearing on a site with child abuse content. Hearst Magazines introduces Aura, a first-party AI ad targeting tool, to global markets. The Science Museum in the UK claims Lego is anti-LGBT and only supports 2 genders. Meta partners with UNESCO to develop a groundbreaking AI program for speech and translation.
Microsoft reports that cybercriminals exploit unprotected ASP.NET keys to distribute malware. Spanish law enforcement apprehends a hacker suspected of targeting NATO and the U.S. Army. India's Reserve Bank of India unveils a unique bank domain to address digital banking fraud.
Docker Bake is now widely available in Docker Desktop 4.38, enhancing the efficiency of Docker builds. In the
Trump announces the termination of Biden's classified intelligence briefings as a retaliatory action, alongside the revocation of Joe Biden's security clearance. Trump intensifies his lawsuit against CBS 60 Minutes, now seeking $20 billion, claiming that the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris unjustly redirected viewers away from his Truth Social platform. The Pentagon removes WALPO and CNN from its offices, opting instead for the Daily Caller, the Free Press, and other media outlets.
UK and US do not sign a declaration on ensuring AI is safe for all at the Paris summit. Vance warns Europeans that excessive regulation might stifle AI development. France unveils a $112 billion AI investment to compete with the US's Stargate project, while the EU commits $200 billion in AI spending to try to match the progress of the US and China. Wall Street Journal reports that an Elon Musk-led group offers $97.4 billion for control of OpenAI, but Sam Altman declines the offer, stating that the OpenAI board will reject Elon Musk's $97 billion proposal. Conservative political leadership linked to increased premature mortality rates. A study indicates Donald Trump exhibits higher levels of dark tetrad traits compared to Joe Biden. The Pope warns that Trump's mass deportation of migrants will end badly, as it is built on the basis of force, and not on the truth about the equal dignity of every human being.
German customers of Seagate claim their new hard drives were previously used, with reports suggesting these HDDs had been in operation for tens of thousands of hours. Meta torrented over 81 terabytes of data through Anna's archive, despite few seeders. Nokia secures its first ever patent injunction across Germany against the Amazon Prime Video streaming service, following 3 victories over Amazon devices. Meta's Brain 2 QWERTY AI model converts brain signals into text as a non-invasive alternative to Musk's Neuralink. The FDA and EU approve Nuance Audio, smart glasses integrated with hearing aids, for commercial sale. Huawei increases smartwatch sales by registering them as medical devices.
Ancient Europeans ate the brains of their dead enemies 18,000 years ago. Researchers discover Spanish running of the Bulls Festival reveals crowd movements can be predictable above a certain density. Study finds medieval Dutch site may have hosted devil's money, cult rituals.
Passmark records its first annual decline in average CPU performance over its 2-decade history of benchmarking. Intel criticizes AMD and NVIDIA in its recent product security report, highlighting that AMD has 78 vulnerabilities without any planned fixes, while NVIDIA is noted for having only high-severity security issues. The rate of IT unemployment increases to 5.7% as artificial intelligence impacts employment in the technology sector. Valve prohibits compulsory in-game advertisements across all Steam games. A Donkey Kong enthusiast, after 44 years, finds out that the iconic kill screen isn't truly the conclusion. A recently disclosed Nintendo Switch 2 patent affirms mouse compatibility and provides additional specifications.
Poachers' social media activity exposes the significant scale of illegal wildlife hunting in Lebanon. The Argentina River becomes a stream of blood. Following a suspected toxic leak, alpha male baboons experience accelerated aging, increased mortality, and heightened stress due to love-related issues.
Trump discontinues legal action against Twitter ban following January 6 incident. Wall Street Journal notes, UK allows Apple to facilitate data access for China. 4 days prior, Apple compelled by UK to create backdoor for user data. Black History and Pride Month removed from Google Calendar.
A recent study suggests that fiber might safeguard your gut against an excessive increase in harmful bacteria. Research indicates that antibiotics, vaccinations, and anti-inflammatory drugs are associated with a decreased likelihood of developing dementia. The study attributes the rising incidence of lung cancer in non-smokers to air pollution in China.
Thomson Reuters secures a preliminary victory in a court case concerning AI, copyright, and fair use. Individuals are gradually developing more confidence in AI and perceiving it as increasingly similar to humans. According to Wall Street Journal, DeepSeek provides information on bioweapons and self-harm.
Russia introduces a prototype of a plasma rocket engine. General Atomics achieves successful testing of nuclear thermal propulsion reactor fuel at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Anduril assumes control of Microsoft's $22 billion U.S. Army headset program.
Neuro-ophthalmologists are worried about eye issues in patients taking GLP-1 anti-diabetic drugs. A study indicates that multiple psychiatric disorders have a common origin. Researchers report that older individuals in England are experiencing greater happiness and satisfaction post-COVID.
MIT's robot bees achieve unprecedented pollination milestones, including a 1,000-second hover and various acrobatic maneuvers. Volabat creates a prototype wooden jacket by transforming trees into garments with intricate grids of timber. Stellantis unveils pop-up advertisements in its vehicles, leading to widespread discontent among car owners.
Thunderbolts emerge as Marvel's latest heroes in a Super Bowl trailer. The Oscars are contemplating a mandate for films to reveal AI usage following controversies with The Brutalist and Emilia Perez. Naja 2 breaks box office records, becoming the first non-Hollywood film to surpass $1 billion.
BYD introduces free self-driving capabilities to 21 of its electric vehicle models, intensifying competition in China's automotive industry. Shine requests certain Chinese suppliers to expand their operations to Vietnam. Apple collaborates with Alibaba to create AI features for iPhone users in China.
Lee Enterprises, a major media company in the U.S., acknowledges a cyber attack, leading to continued disruptions at its news outlets. The U.S., UK, and Australia are focusing on Russia-based servers due to Lockbit ransomware attacks. With the U.S. imposing sanctions on Lockbit's resilient hosting provider, international law enforcement has apprehended key individuals involved in Phobos and 8-base ransomware as part of a global cybercrime operation. Trump indicates he might stop aid to Jordan and Egypt unless they accept Palestinians. Jordan agrees to care for ill children from Gaza amid Trump's proposed takeover strategy. Palestinian forces are visibly assisting Israel in its conflict in the West Bank.
Lyft plans to introduce Mobileye robot access in Dallas starting in 2026. China's technology stocks are experiencing a bull market following a significant breakthrough by DeepSeek. T-Mobile will implement a $15 monthly fee for the Starlink satellite texting feature.
In the United States, federal authorities have filed charges against 9 individuals suspected of being involved in a robbery ring that successfully stole 2 artworks by Jackson Pollock and Andy Warhol, each valued at millions of dollars. The inaugural official African government meme coin, $CR, has achieved a trading volume of $830 million, marking it as one of the top meme coins to purchase during the current African crypto bull run. Take-Two accidentally disclosed that PS5 sales have surpassed those of the Xbox Series X/S by more than double.
Kris Jenner puts famous family house from Keeping Up with the Kardashians on the market for $13.5 million. Ye's website is temporarily unavailable following the sale of swastika shirts, as the e-commerce platform states the site breached its terms. In 2024, female protagonists have achieved equal representation with male protagonists in the highest-grossing films.
BuzzFeed is launching a new social platform to compete with Instagram, TikTok, and X, aiming to spread joy. Meta and Child Help have introduced a curriculum to assist students in avoiding online exploitation. Tumblr will become part of the Fediverse once its WordPress migration is finished. Google AI chief dismisses DeepSeek's cost allegations as overblown. According to Reuters, OpenAI is preparing to complete its initial custom chip design this year. The Wall Street Journal notes that China's approach in the trade war involves intimidating U.S. tech firms. Bloomberg highlights that Taiwan's exports to Mexico have surged by nearly 500% prior to the imposition of U.S. tariffs. It is reported that chipmaker SMIC experienced a 45% decline in profits in 2024, due to ongoing U.S.-China trade tensions.
Zelensky says Europe's ability to ensure Ukraine's security is contingent upon America's involvement. North Korea labels Trump's proposal to take over Gaza as absurd. A Danish petition advocating for the purchase of California garners 200,000 signatures.
UNAIDS chief warns that HIV infections could increase by more than 6-fold if U.S. support were withdrawn. Trump issues an executive order urging agencies to collaborate with a group led by Elon Musk. Trump administration informs Republican lawmakers that $175 billion is required to fortify the borders.
In South Korea, AI fortune tellers and digital clergy are causing discussions about the future of religion. According to the BBC, AI chatbots can distort and mislead when queried about current events, as they struggle to provide accurate news summaries. A Microsoft study reveals that AI can lead to human cognition becoming atrophied and unprepared.
China assembles a planetary defense Sea. With changing Washington dynamics, China bolsters space collaborations with African nations.
Wall Street Journal reports that China attempts to mediate in Ukraine. Hegseth dismisses Ukraine's NATO membership, emphasizing Europe's duty for its security, stating Ukraine cannot anticipate reverting to previous borders or joining NATO. Trump claims to have conversed with Putin and reached an agreement to negotiate a Ukraine ceasefire, with the Kremlin announcing Putin's invitation to Trump for discussions in Moscow. Leaders assert that no enduring peace in Ukraine is possible without Europe's involvement in negotiations following the Trump-Putin call.
Sea turtles use magnetic map and compass to navigate the ocean. As sea turtles dance, when their superpower leads them to food. In the U.S., $10 million was spent on transgender animal testing, Watchdog Group says, as Congresswoman Mace opens hearing on oversight of taxpayer-funded animal cruelty. U.S. wildfire suppressants rife with toxic heavy metals, study finds.
Jeffrey Epstein Task Force formed as FBI announces discovery of 2,400 new JFK assassination files. United States plans to release Russian cyber money launderer in return for Mark Fogel. In the United Kingdom, MI5 allegedly misled courts to safeguard a violent neo-Nazi spy, and the MI5 chief reportedly contacted the BBC boss to suppress the story about the violent neo-Nazi spy. Tesla has initiated legal actions against customers and journalists in China, achieving success in most cases, according to a review. It is reportedly using its close ties with the Chinese Communist Party to penalize drivers who report issues with their brakes suddenly failing. Bloomberg indicates that Temu and Shein are experiencing a decline in U.S. sales following Trump's focus on China trade. Reuters suggests that Shein is planning to reduce its valuation to $50 billion in a London IPO, as its IPO plans are affected by Trump's crackdown on low-cost parcels. Apple and Google have reinstated the TikTok app after receiving assurances from Trump.
Manhattan U.S. attorney and leading DOJ official step down following directive to dismiss Eric Adams' case. Kamala Harris emerges as the Democratic frontrunner for California governor in 2026. According to a poll, researchers report a 50% rise in hate speech on X since Elon Musk took over. Wall Street Journal indicates that, according to U.S. intelligence, Israel perceives an opportunity for strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. State media in Iran reports that 2 British nationals are detained on security charges. Iran's Khamenei emphasizes the necessity to enhance Iran's military capabilities following threats from Trump.
German Navy chief reveals warship sabotage amid rising Russian threat to NATO. Study indicates Russian defense spending surpasses total European expenditure. Ukraine captures high-ranking intelligence officer, alleging collaboration with Russia. A concealed Picasso artwork from the initial Blue Period has been uncovered using advanced technology. In May 2024, a massive solar storm generated 2 new radiation belts encircling Earth. Research conducted in India indicates that children employ distinct math abilities in their professional endeavors compared to their academic pursuits.
Trump declares that Palestinians will not be allowed to return to Gaza under his proposal. The Palestinian Authority terminates martyr payments, potentially signaling an approach towards Trump, as the Palestinian president abolishes the prisoner payment system condemned by the U.S. The Trump administration approves the reform of Palestinian prisoner payments, which have been labeled pay for slay.
In the UK, the government announced that construction on up to 12 new towns in England will commence by the next election. Starmer is set to reveal a plan for these new towns, which draws inspiration from King Charles. A report indicates that Italy, Greece, and Spain are among the top 10 countries most impacted by extreme weather. It is reportedly that the German far right is seeking to ally with Orbán to internally dismantle the EU.
ARM plans to release its own chip this year, with Meta as a client. A study claims that China's supercomputer chips have become 10 times more powerful than NVIDIA's. Reuters indicates that buyout firms are competing for the cybersecurity company Trend Micro, according to sources. Acetaminophen use during pregnancy may increase children's risk of autism, ADHD, and intellectual disability. Research supports the health benefits of cycling, especially in lowering sickness absences. A study associates birth control rings and patches with an elevated risk of clots and strokes.
German regulator accuses Apple of misusing power regarding its app tracking tool. OpenAI removes its diversity commitment webpage from its website. The upcoming Harry Potter HBO series is considering John Lithgow for the role of Dumbledore.
OpenAI delays its O3 AI model to focus on a unified next-generation release, with Sam Altman outlining the strategy for OpenAI's GPT-5. ChatGPT's energy use is disclosed. Just 0.3 watts per response, much less than previously speculated. Elon Musk announces he will retract his bid to buy OpenAI if the board halts the shift to a for-profit business.
Trump declares tariffs on the EU in response to VAT, while signing a plan for reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners, leading to economic uncertainty. Trump indicates that Modi will initiate trade discussions following the U.S.'s tariff announcement. Taiwan commits to enhancing communication and investment in the U.S. after Trump's tariff threats. Porsche is reducing approximately 2,000 positions in Germany as the challenges with its EV intensify. U.S. Coast Guard shares a recording that seems to capture the sound of the Titanic submersible's implosion. In 2024, all 32 swimmers who underwent the most drug tests worldwide were Chinese. According to the data, Trump Jr. supports enhanced games, a new event that could challenge the Olympics by permitting certain steroids in sports. European Parliament advises legislators to exclusively use encrypted messages following cyber attacks by China. In the United States, the Salt typhoon breach affects telecom providers Cisco devices. Microsoft reveals that a sandworm subgroup has executed global cyber attacks across more than 15 countries.
Baidu, a Chinese company, plans to release its newest Ernie AI model as open source due to intensifying competition. Meanwhile, AI licensing agreements with Google and OpenAI contribute to 10% of Reddit's income. The UK has removed safety from its AI organization, now named the AI Security Institute, and has signed a memorandum of understanding with Anthropic. Additionally, publishers such as Condé Nast and McClatchy have accused the AI company Cohere of copyright infringements.
Chain analysis indicates that pig butchering scams have surged by nearly 40% in 2024 compared to the previous year, as the fraud sector adopts AI and enhances its sophistication. Core DDoS radar shows a 56% rise in DDoS attacks over the same period. According to Google's threat intelligence team, cybercrime poses a significant threat to national security, with U.S. adversaries increasingly seeking assistance from cybercriminals and their malware.
Malaysia collaborates with Google to introduce AI to 445,000 civil servants. In the U.S., following the Copilot trial, government employees found Microsoft's AI less beneficial than anticipated. YouTube integrates Google Veo AI video generation tools into Shorts.
Mexico's president targets U.S. gunmakers if cartels are classified as terrorist organizations. 3 weeks prior, a U.S. appeals court reinstates Mexico's $10 billion lawsuit against these gunmakers. Vance urges Europeans to cease excluding parties labeled as extreme, and VP Vance criticizes Europe's mass migration policies in Munich the day following a terror attack. In the U.S., California Tesla owners are reportedly receiving threats to sell their vehicles or face vandalism. Hedge fund startup that replaced analysts with AI outperforms the market. OpenAI is considering a grown-up mode to make ChatGPT less overly agreeable. Meta joins the AI humanoid competition by establishing a new robotics division to rival Tesla and Figure AI.
Princeton neuroscientists have unraveled the mechanism behind decision-making. Birds have independently evolved sophisticated brains compared to mammals. Men place a higher significance on romantic relationships than women do.
China plans to create gene editing tools and new crop varieties as part of its biotechnology initiative. A study suggests that consuming food from plastic takeout containers may elevate the risk of heart failure. Artificial intelligence has been employed to design a multi-step enzyme capable of digesting certain types of plastic.
260 foreigners, who were held in virtual slavery within Myanmar's online scam centers, are in the process of being repatriated to their respective countries. Meanwhile, Russian hackers are launching attacks on Microsoft 365 accounts by employing device code phishing techniques. In Argentina, Javier Milei has distanced himself from the Libra memecoin following a significant 90% decline in its value, stating, "Not aware of the details." Additionally, Argentina's opposition party is considering initiating an impeachment trial against Milei after he publicly promoted the crypto coin.
Brazil to host next BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro and
Ukraine declines Trump's initial demand for half of its mineral resources. Macron convenes an urgent European summit regarding Trump, with a Polish minister confirming, and Starmer is set to participate in Macron's European Crisis Summit, focused on Trump's Ukraine strategy. Meanwhile, a U.S. envoy states that Europe will not be involved in Ukraine's peace negotiations. After an assault on the opposition, Zelensky essentially initiates the election season. 2 weeks prior, Reuters reported that the U.S. desires Ukraine to conduct elections subsequent to a ceasefire, according to Trump's envoy. Parental divorce during childhood is linked to a 61% increased risk of stroke in older adults. In Argentina, Bullrich stated that permits for marijuana cultivation will be canceled. 5 years prior, Argentina permitted the home cultivation of medicinal marijuana. An unforeseen anomaly has been discovered in the Pacific Ocean, potentially serving as a global time marker.
Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renée Zellweger had a brief encounter before the filming of Bridget Jones concluded. Renée Zellweger, along with Hugh Grant and Emma Thompson to reprise role in Bridget Jones, mad about the boy. Chiwetel Ejiofor and Leah Woodall are also confirmed to join the cast. The Trump administration plans to withdraw $20 billion in funding from climate projects. The Chiltern Firehouse, a popular celebrity venue, has been indefinitely closed following a significant fire that devastated the London hotel.
Trump officials reportedly dismissed nuclear staff without understanding their role in managing the nation's weapons stockpile, according to sources from 1 day ago. Comprehensive layoffs at the U.S. Energy Department affected offices responsible for loans and nuclear security, as mentioned by sources. Additionally, Trump has framed his 2023 mugshot and displayed it outside the Oval Office, accompanied by the statement, "He who saves his country does not violate any law," to assert that his actions are not unconstitutional. Furthermore, Trump has reversed measures related to the CFPB, USAID, and the Department of Education, while a judge has mandated the temporary reinstatement of foreign aid funding by the Trump administration.
The Goonies 2 is currently being developed, with Steven Spielberg and Chris Columbus as producers. The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power has been officially confirmed for a third season. A long-lost silent film concerning Abraham Lincoln has been found at the Greenport Film Archive.
XRP and Dogecoin ETFs have overcome the first obstacle, with the SEC recognizing Grayscale submissions. GameStop shares are rising as the company explores crypto investments, according to CNBC. Bloomberg indicates that U.S. Bitcoin miners are facing challenges due to a Chinese supplier under investigation.
Tata Group unit transmits 80% of worldwide sporting events. Tom Sachs reveals September launch for Nike Mars Yard 3.0. Astrobot, Indiana Jones, and Helldivers 2 are the top nominees for the 2025 DICE Awards.
Buy now, pay later installment payments increase retail spending, study finds. Zelle payments top $1 trillion in 2024 as network's growth outpaces rivals including PayPal. Optimism motivates people to save for future despite present challenges, study suggests.
Referring to solitary time as me time enhances positive emotions and alters perceptions positively, whereas calling it isolation does not. Wired notes, the loneliness epidemic is a security crisis. 16 months prior, WHO identifies loneliness as a health risk. In the UK, a brain implant that potentially elevates mood uses rolling coolers due to risks of fingertip amputation and crushing.
The Guardian enters a licensing agreement with OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT. A YouTube channel focused on true crime has been taken down due to the use of AI-generated narratives. Firecrawl, a Y Combinator startup, is advertising a position for an AI agent with an annual salary of $15,000.
EU reduces technology regulations to encourage AI investment, according to the digital chief. Axios indicates that confidence in AI is significantly greater in China compared to the United States. IA declares that the increase in worldwide electricity demand is expected to speed up in the near future due to the expansion of energy-intensive sectors.
White South Africans demonstrate against laws they perceive as racist and express gratitude to Trump for his backing. In the United States, Naval Academy instructors are instructed to steer clear of divisive concepts such as systemic racism. Additionally, a climate organization that advocated for free Palestine has been deprived of federal funding.
Rubio labels Iran as the most significant source of instability in the region, emphasizing the need for action. In a joint statement, Rubio and Netanyahu confirmed their shared strategy for Gaza and focus on Iran, with Netanyahu stating that with U.S. backing, we can complete the task against Iran. Additionally, Rubio insists that Hamas must be completely destroyed, raising skepticism about the Gaza ceasefire agreement. A survey reveals a rise in anti-Semitism and safety concerns among U.S. Jews. Israel receives a delivery of heavy bombs approved by Trump.
South Korea halts fresh downloads of DeepSeek due to privacy issues. Elon Musk's xAI introduces Grok 3, powered by the Colossus supercomputer. Apple postpones Siri AI upgrade because of engineering challenges.
Iran's foreign ministry asserts that it will decisively protect its nuclear program. North Korea's leader, Kim, visits his father's tomb infrequently, vowing loyalty to the sacred struggle, while Pyongyang criticizes the U.S., South Korea, and Japan for their absurd efforts towards denuclearization. A survey reveals that most Americans think foreign aid is squandered on corruption.
Research indicates that grandparents who care for their grandchildren may experience extended lifespans. Scientists have discovered a region in the brain associated with the sensation of having a dessert stomach. A growing number of gamblers are concerned about developing an addiction, according to recent studies.
Conclave was awarded the title of Best Film at the BAFTAs, while The Brutalist received additional recognition. Both films achieved a total of 4 awards each. Saudi Arabia has entered into a $1 billion agreement with Leonard Blavatnik's sports streaming company. William Byron secured his second consecutive victory at the Daytona 500, following laps taken by Trump. Chinese sex doll manufacturer anticipates increased sales in 2025 due to AI enhancing adult toys user experience. Chinese e-scooter companies Ninebot and Neo incorporate DeepSeek AI for more intelligent rides, while Tencent evaluates DeepSeek to incorporate China's leading AI technology into its Weixin super app. Goldman Sachs notes that China's progress could amplify AI's influence on the global GDP.
China might postpone Tesla's full self-driving approval, while new Model Y deliveries are set to begin. Tesla states that taking naps in the afternoon can enhance your problem-solving abilities. Theoretical physicists have discovered that quantum systems exhibit arrows of time that are in opposition to each other.
Open-source LLMs are included in Europe's digital sovereignty roadmap. The New York Times has started using AI tools in its newsroom. A Stanford study indicates that large language models have a worrying tendency to flatter users, while older AI models are exhibiting signs of cognitive decline, according to another study.
Authorities have located the leader of the BitConnect cryptocurrency scam in India, and they have successfully seized $190 million. In response to Zelle scams, Chase Bank has decided to block payments to contacts on social media platforms. Additionally, It has been reported that China is actively seeking methods to safeguard data against the potential threats posed by quantum computers. High-ranking officials from Russia and the United States are scheduled to discuss concluding the Ukraine conflict without involving Kyiv. Meanwhile, Ukraine is urging European nations to appoint an envoy for peace negotiations. The U.S. has provided Ukraine with a document to utilize its minerals, yet has proposed minimal compensation in return. According to the New York Times, Putin has consistently sought greater influence in Europe, and Trump might inadvertently facilitate this. It is reported that Trump is insisting Ukraine relinquish control of its ports and oil in exchange for a $500 billion deal. Elon Musk is not in control of Doge and lacks any decision-making power, according to the White House. Trump views psychiatric and weight loss medications as dangers to children. 5 days prior, following Kennedy's confirmation, Trump creates a Make America Healthy Again commission. Gold bullion is flown to New York due to tariffs increasing the price difference with London. Russia asserts that Ukraine possesses a sovereign right to become a member of the EU, yet it opposes Ukraine's accession to NATO. Europe, excluded from US-Russia discussions on Ukraine, is urgently seeking a response, planning a summit in Paris. Additionally, the Abu Dhabi energy company ADNOC has signed a gas deal with India valued at over $7 billion.
Mexican military captures 4,000 kilograms of narcotics in Sinaloa. According to CNN, the CIA is conducting secret drone operations in Mexico to monitor drug cartels. Authorities detain suspected leader of the cult-like Zizian group associated with numerous homicides. China vows to safeguard private enterprises against unlawful inquiries and economic offenses.
Delta jet inverts on a snowy Toronto runway. All 80 passengers and crew survive. Los Angeles Mayor Base admits Africa trip was a complete error following a failed wildfire.